Hello, good evening. Please confirm you can hear me.
We can, sir.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with the speaker at the initial time, so I have to log out and log in. All right. Once again, good evening. Tonight, we shall be looking at, of course, continuation of our modern costing system. For those of us that have been following the class consistently, we started modern costing system last week, Tuesday. We looked at life cycle costing and target costing last week. Interestingly, we're able to put question to these two, life cycle costing and target costing. Precisely tonight, we shall be looking at throughput accounting. Throughput accounting is one of the techniques under modern costing techniques. We shall be looking at the theory of constraints and throughput accounting. Let me quickly say that it is very doable to have your online class and you achieve your results. That is, pass your exam. What we expect from the students is to assume that I'm in a physical class. If there's any need for you to write, please write and jot. No doubt, the video will be provided for you. But your writing will help you in a number of ways. One is by you are keeping yourself active in the class. This is not the first time we do online classes. Some students will log on and they have gone to sleep. It wasn't deliberate. The student is tired. He has gone to work. He has just logged on. While listening to the lecture, the student just slept off. But if you are jotting down, it keeps you active in the class. Again, what you write with your hand, you learn faster. Now let's go to the topic, the theory of constraint. What is theory of constraint? What is constraint really? Whether individual or business entity or even a country, there is usually something that will serve as a limitation to achieving your goal. Whether individual, whether business organization, whether country, a factor or factors can serve as constraints to one's objective. The theory of constraint is a theory that describes how to maximize profits when faced with bottleneck bottleneck is limitation. The theory of constraint is a theory that describes the process of maximizing profits when faced with bottleneck. Definitely, organization at one point or the other will be faced with a bottleneck. The bottleneck may be sales volume. For example, a company has produced goods, but the company cannot determine the number of units customer will buy. We have produced thousands of goods, awaiting customer to buy. At that point, volume of sales becomes a bottleneck. If you produce 100,000 and you can only sell 80,000, there's a bottleneck. Bottleneck is that factor that limits the maximization of profit. Bottleneck or constraint is that factor that limits the maximization of profit. Usually, sales volume is the bottleneck. We don't have control over number of units we are going to sell. For example, look at the class we are running, the online class now. Open online class. We have capacity to accommodate 100 students. We have paid Zoom to be able to accommodate 100 students. But look at the class tonight. I only have 14 participants on this class. That means, excluding the lecturer, we only have 13 students attending this class. Meanwhile, we have paid for 100 space. At that point, number of students becomes a bottleneck. Now the question is, how do we maximize profits where there is a bottleneck? Please note, theory of constraint describes the process of maximizing profit when faced with bottleneck or non-bottleneck operation. Theory of constraints involve 5 steps. Theory of constraints involve 5 steps. 1, identify the system bottlenecks. It may be more than one. What are the factors or factors that will limit the company from maximizing profits? Identify those factors. Those factors are referred to as bottleneck. Step 2, explore a process to exploit the bottleneck. How do we exploit bottleneck? How do we ensure that we break the barrier, that limitation? If we are trying to increase number of students now, we can go on promotion. We can say 2 students, 25,000. That's sales promotion. A student, maybe 20,000. 2 students, 25,000 or 30,000. You are looking for a way to break the bottleneck. Step 3, subordinate everything X to the decision in the above step. That is, you are going to work towards where the bottleneck cannot be removed, where not all bottleneck can be removed. Then you are going to work with the resource or resources you have to maximize profit. At every point in time, a factor will always serve as bottleneck. The objective is to maximize throughput contribution. Why did I move from here? Why do I move away from here? As you overcome one bottleneck, another bottleneck will come up. There's no way in life, if you overcome the challenge of I can today, as you grow in your career, another challenge will come to your front. So it's a continuous process. If you elevate system bottleneck, that is, if you overcome one bottleneck, another bottleneck will come up. Just 1 minute, please. Let's continue. So the objective of theory of constraint is to maximize throughput contribution. What is throughput contribution? Says less material cost. What is throughput contribution? To maximize throughput contribution. What is throughput contribution? Your selling price less your material cost. Please note that. We have explained bottleneck resource. That is binding constraint. The activity that limits maximization of contribution or profit. Bottleneck resource is the binding constraint. That activity that limits throughput contribution. Now, please note, theory of constraint and throughput accounting are closely interrelated. In fact, throughput accounting is developed from the theory of constraint. Let us go to throughput. The concept of throughput accounting has been developed from the theory of constraint as an alternative system to cost and management accounting in a just-in-time environment. The theory of throughput or the concept of throughput accounting has been developed from the theory of constraint as an alternative system to cost and management accounting in a JIT environment. In other words, throughput accounting is an approach to accounting where a company operates just-in-time production system. Throughput accounting is based on three concepts. Concept number one, please note, it assumes that the only variable cost is the material cost. All costs are assumed to be fixed. Please note that under throughput, in the short run, most costs in the factory, with the exception of material costs, are fixed. So if you are dealing with throughput, only the material cost is assumed to be the variable cost. All other costs, including labor costs, are regarded as fixed costs. Please note that. That is concept number one. Concept number two is that it assumes that there is no stock in a JIT environment, just-in-time environment. There is no opening or closing stock. We don't maintain any stock. Look at the concept of just-in-time production environment. We are going to produce goods only when there is demand. That means we don't produce goods to keep in our warehouse. So the assumption is there's zero stock level. Because inventory does not create profits. So we discourage anything like stock. For example, look at Dangote, for example. Dangote is in business to manufacture and make sales. Dangote is not in the business to manufacture and keep in the warehouse. The purpose of production is to make sales, not to keep your finished goods in your warehouse. So the assumption here is no stock. We don't have inventory of stock. If you require raw material, you call your supplier, they will deliver immediately. You are going to use the raw material and convert to finished goods. From finished goods, customers are waiting to buy the goods. We call it demand push, or we call it demand pull production. It is only when there is demand that the company will enter the factory to produce. Number three, profitability is determined by the rate at which money comes in at the door. The door to income for any business is sales. The door to income for any business organization is your sales. So we are going to target sales. The extent to which we can produce to meet customers' order, the more revenue the company will generate. Yeah, look at it. Bottleneck. The aim of modern manufacturing approaches is to match production resources with the demand for them. The objective of modern manufacturing is to match your production resources with demand for these resources. There is no need for what? Inventory. Your bottleneck resource still remains that factor that limits the maximization of profit. And it is the duty of the company's management to look at or to identify how to eliminate bottleneck. It is the duty of the company's management to identify ways to eliminate bottleneck. But please note, where a bottleneck cannot be eliminated by saying prioritizing your work, then you are going to limit your production to the capacity of the bottleneck. I've explained this before. The elimination of one bottleneck is likely to lead to another at a previously satisfactory location. Yeah. As you overcome one bottleneck, another bottleneck will come up. Other factors that might limit throughput, other than lack of production resource. Yes, when we say throughput, please remember, throughput's contribution, differences between selling price and material cost. The only variable cost is the material cost. All other costs are fixed. So if you want to maximize profits, then the company will try to maximize throughput return. Because you don't have control over fixed costs. You only have control over your sales and your variable cost. Okay. Throughput accounting can be used as a performance measurement tool, or you can use it for decision making. This was tested last night for 20 marks. Throughput accounting can be used to measure performance. You can also use it for decision making. While I was taking the student in the physical class, I was like, watch out. Because the subject is performance management. Throughput accounting can be used for performance measurements. We can also use it for decision making. Under performance management, you can calculate return per factory hour. That is your throughput return is calculated as space less direct material cost divided by usage of bottleneck resource in hours. That is the hours in bottleneck resource. Your bottleneck can be labor hour, it can be the raw material, it can be machine hour. Anything that limits company from maximizing profit is bottleneck. So you can compute on per factory hour. Note how to calculate it. You may be required to calculate throughput accounting ratio. Our throughput accounting ratio is return per factory hour divided by total conversion cost. That is the total cost. Excluding material cost, all other costs are regarded as conversion costs and they are fixed. If you reason it out, if we are into production, the only thing we are going to buy for production is our raw material. The factory rent is fixed. The machine cost is fixed. We now hire labor. We pay labor monthly salary fixed. All the other resources, factory, machine, labor, they will work on the raw material. They will convert raw material to finished goods. That's why we call it conversion cost. Factory cost is part of conversion cost. Machine cost, part of conversion cost. Labor cost, part of conversion cost. All these are called total conversion cost or total factory cost. Cost incurred to convert the raw material into finished goods. So if you have to calculate throughputs, our throughput accounting ratio is equal to return per factory hour. Look at how to compute return per factory hour above. Total conversion cost per factory hour, where your cost per factory hour, that is total conversion cost per factory hour, is equal to total factory cost. Please note, total factory cost is the same as total conversion cost. To minimize confusion, we can adjust this. To minimize confusion.
Sorry, excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
Okay, the total factory cost, excluding material cost, right?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So if you are dealing with throughput, you exclude material cost. That is the only variable cost. All other costs are regarded as factory cost and they are fixed in nature. Is that clear, sir? Is that taken, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. So cost per factory hour is equal to total factory cost divided by total time available in key resource. Your key resource is the bottleneck resource. Your key resource is the bottleneck resource. So you can use it for performance measurements. Please note, although we are still going to explain it, if you compute your throughput accounting ratio and is greater than 1, it implies that that product is profitable. That product is performing financially well. Let me repeat that. If you compute your throughput accounting ratio and the figure you get is greater than 1, this implies that the product is financially profitable. As the company should embark on production of that product. Alternatively, if your throughput accounting ratio is less than 1, it implies that that particular product is not profitable. And where a product is not profitable, the company should disregard that product. Lastly, we can use throughput for decision making. If you are to do optimal production plan that we do under limiting factor analysis, we can also use throughput to determine our optimum production plan. That is, how do we combine production of 2 or more different products in order to maximize profits? We can also use this for that purpose. But please note, a major limitation with this method is that it tends to focus on short-term profit consideration. It tends to focus on the short-term profits maximization. Companies in business for long-term period. Now, throughput accounting and limiting factor analysis, they are closely similar too. If you look at it, under marginal costing, we have limiting factor analysis, where you calculate your contribution per unit of limiting factor. But we have differences. If you are talking of throughput, if you are calculating throughput contribution is sales less material cost. Only material cost is considered variable cost. But if you get to marginal costing, material cost, labor cost, and other variable costs will be regarded before you now compute your contribution. So please note that. Last diet, the examiner says they should compare difference between contribution under throughput and contribution under marginal costing. If you are to calculate contribution under throughput, is sales price minus. If you are to calculate contribution under marginal costing, it's going to be sales price less all variable costs. All variable costs include material, labor, and other variable overhead. All right. I think we are fine with the foundation is fine with the explanation. Any question before we go to question on this topic? Any question, please?
None for now.
All right. Let's look at question number 1. Please, as much as possible, of course, I must thank you guys for your cooperation. Please, as we are reading question, let's be mindful of it. My take is, if you're able to understand the question and requirement very well, solving the question will not be that challenging. Now let's go to the question. Solar System and Co. in bracket X and Co. makes 2 types of solar panels at its manufacturing plant. Large panel for commercial customers, small panel for domestic customers. All panels are produced using the same materials, machinery, and a skilled labor force. Look at the production resources: material, machinery, labor force. Production takes place for 5 days per week, from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. If you can, that is 13 hours. In a day, 13-hour work. 50 weeks of the year. Each panel has to be cut, molded, and then assembled using a cutting machine MC, a molding machine, machine M, assembly machine, machine A. So we have 3 machines. Machine C, machine A. As part of government scheme to increase renewable energy sources, Solar and Co. has guaranteed not to increase the price of small or large panel for the next 3 years. Please note that selling price cannot be increased for the next 3 years. It has also been agreed to supply a minimum of 1,000 small panel each year to domestic customers for these 3 years. Again, the company must produce at least 1,000 small panel, because we must supply a minimum of 1,000. Whether small panel is profitable or not, the company must supply minimum. Can you see it? That is guaranteed demand or guaranteed sales demand. We must produce it for the next 3 years. Please note that. Due to poor productivity levels, late orders, and declining profits over recent years, the finance director has suggested the introduction of throughput accounting within the organization, together with a just-in-time system of production, material cost, and selling prices for each type of panel as shown below. Please note that total factory costs, which include and all factory overheads, are 12 million each year at the plants. Out of the 13 hours available for production each day, workers take a 1-hour lunch break. That means only 12 hours is used for production. Out of 13 hours, workers are entitled to 1-hour break. They need to go and eat. For the remaining 12 hours, machine C is utilized 85% of the time. Machine M and A are utilized 90% of the time. Look at it. That means they are not even using the whole 12 hours. The unproductive time arises either as a result of routine maintenance or because of staff absenteeism. Look at it. They need to maintain the machine. So if they are maintaining machine, employees cannot work. Some staff are not even coming to work because of staff absenteeism. As each machine needs to be manned by a skilled worker in order for the machine to run. The skilled workers are currently only trained to work on one type of machine each. Look at that limitation. Workers can only operate one machine. That means it's that you can operate machine C or machine M or machine A. It means that if the man that can operate machine C is not available, the man from machine A cannot help out. Maintenance work is carried out by external contractors who provide a round-the-clock service. That is, they are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, should it be required. The following information is available for machine M, which has been identified as the bottleneck resource. Look at it. Machine M is the bottleneck resource. To produce a unit of large panel, machine M hour is 1.5 hours. While to produce a unit of small panel, 0.6 hours. There is currently plenty of spare capacity in machine C and A. Maximum annual demand for large panel and for small panel is 1,800 large panel, small panel 1,700 respectively. Required. Calculate the throughput accounting ratio for small panel and for large panels and for small panel, and explain what they indicate to Solar and Co. about the production of large and small panel. Okay, a good question. Is there any aspect of the question that will require clarification? How do we calculate throughput accounting ratio? State your formula in your book. What is the formula for throughput accounting ratio? State the formula in your book. Let us work together. Are we there, please?
It says return per factory hour over total factory cost per factory hour.
Good. Please, the way you have stated it, state it in your book. Let's work together. Like the speaker has said, calculation of throughput accounting ratio. I will state my formula. Return per factory hour divided by cost. That is total factory cost per factory hour. I will now move. First, let me calculate cost per factory hour. Cost per factory hour is total factory cost divided by available hours in bottleneck. Is that clear, please? Now go back to the question. What is the total factory cost? Examiner gave us this expressly. The total factory cost, which include cost of labor and other factory overhead, are 12 million naira. Pick 12 million. Total factory cost given 12 million naira. Hours available in bottleneck. Let's go and check. Our bottleneck is machine M. What is the hour available on this machine? Per day, we have 12 hours. Abi? Out of 13 hours, 1 hour is for lunch. That means we have 12 hours. How many days in a week do we work? Examiner stated, look at it. Production takes place 5 days per week. That means in a week, we are going to work for 5 days. A day, the worker will work for 12 hours, excluding lunchtime. Is that clear, please? That means in a week, the hour is 12 times 5. Are we following, please?
Yes, sir.
Then in a year, 50 weeks of the year, what is the hour available for the whole year? 12 times 5 times 50. Please multiply. That is the hour available for the whole year.
3,000.
3,000. If you multiply, that will give you 3,000. But examiner says machine M and machine A are utilized 95% of the time. Sorry, 90% of the time. Out of 3,000, we only utilize 90%. What is the hour utilized, please? 90% of 3,000.
Two
Can we
seven.
see? Hour available in bottleneck. 12 hours multiplied by 5 days a week, multiplied by 50 weeks a year, multiplied by 90. That means hour available is 2,700 hours. Hour available in bottleneck. The 10% is used for maintenance absenteeism. You can now compute your cost per factory hour. Total factory cost 12 million divided by hours available in bottleneck 12,700. Please do your calculation. Please do your calculation and respond. Oh, Pascal is online. Okay, Biodun. T. Yes, your answer, please.
4,444.44444.
Thank you. We have computed the denominator. We have gotten cost per factory hour. Is that clear, please? We now move to the numerator. Return per factory hour. If that is taken, if there's no question, I will move to return per factory hour. I will open my schedule. Large panel. This should be panel. Large panel and small panel. Pick your selling price. What is the selling price for the product? Let's check it and respond. Selling price for large panel, 12,600. Selling price for small panel, 3,800. Material cost, 1,160. Under throughput return, selling price less material cost will give us throughput return or throughput contribution. Is that clear, please?
Yes, sir.
So you can check out the difference. So you have your throughput return. Next, hours per unit in bottleneck. Bottleneck is our machine. What is the hour per unit? To produce a unit of large panel, we require 1.4 hours. Small panel, 0.6 hours. That is hours per unit in bottleneck. Bottleneck is machine M. 1.4, 0.6. Throughput return per hour is your return 8,300 divided by 1.4. Please divide. Please divide 8,300 divided by 1.4. What do you have? That will give you your return per factory hour.
5,928.57.
5,098.57. Do same for small panel. Throughput return divided by neck, 0.6.
Yes, correct.
You have
4,400.
4,400. You have gotten return per throughput return per hour, cost per factory hour. You can get your throughput accounting ratio, return per factory hour divided by cost per factory hour. Return per factory hour divided by cost per factory hour. Please note, cost per factory hour will not change. Please divide and get your throughput accounting ratio. Yeah. You can respond via chats. Let's have class that is interactive. Respond via chats. If you don't want to talk, no problem. Yes, what do you have, please?
Sorry, sir. You said throughput accounting ratio, right?
Yes. Calculated as what?
Which is throughput return per hour over cost per factory hour.
Yeah, divide and give us the figure. We are told to calculate throughput accounting ratios now.
Yes.
Oh yeah, compute.
What's the panel? How 0.99000?
Okay, for small panel, 0.99. For large panel, what do you have?
1.33.
1.33. Now, if you are to interpret this, what will you see about large panel? What will you see about small panel? What will be your comments?
Large panel has higher contribution ratio.
Okay. Is that
Compared
all?
to
Higher
compared
panel
to
is greater than
small.
1, so it's profitable. While
Yes.
the small panel
Oh,
is
great.
less than
Okay.
1.
So let's hear him out. The second speaker. Yes, please go ahead and speak.
Say higher panel is greater than 1, so it's profitable. The company should continue with production. While the small panel is less than 1, it's not profitable. It can be discarded.
Okay, thank you for that. That is the exact comment. Large panel has a throughput of 1.33. This indicates that panel is highly profitable, and the company should produce more of large panel. Small panel with a contribution with throughput accounting ratio of less than 1. It means that this product is not profitable. Look at the comments beneath. In an organization, one would expect the throughput accounting ratio to be greater than 1. This means that the rates at which the organization is generating cash from sales of these products is greater than the rate at which it is incurring cost. It follows on then that if the ratio is less than 1, changes need to be made quickly. Why is the ratio for large panel is more than 1? It is 0.99, in bracket approximately 1 for small panel, an indication that small panel is not profitable. Necessary changes as suggested need to be made to rectify the situation. I hope this point is clear to all.
Mm-hmm.
I hope this point is clear to all.
Yes, sir.
All right. After this question, we are going to look at last diet question. So I was surprised when I was like, our students should be able to pass this PA. I was telling myself, look at the question now. I remember solving this for the student in the physical. Examiner repeated something of this nature, 20 marks. Let's go on so that we can look at the question tonight. We are done with the A part. Now look at the B part. Look at the B part. Let's to create space. Assuming that your calculation in part A have shown that large panel have a higher throughput accounting ratio than small panel. Required. Using the throughput accounting ratio, prepare calculation to determine the optimal production mix and maximum profits of X and Co for the next year. Now, we want to go to optimum production mix. Ordinarily, we shouldn't produce small panel. Is that clear? Because small panel is not profitable. But there is a condition. We are supposed to start with large panel. But there is a condition. The condition says, look at it. It has also been agreed to supply a minimum of 1,000 small panel each year to domestic customer for the next 3 years, for this 3-year period. That means the company must meet minimum production of small panel. Ordinarily, because small panel is not profitable, the company produce small panel. We are coming to it, Biodun. We are coming to it. Now let's go to that. So we are going to start with our optimal production mix. Remember that why are we doing optimal production mix? Because we cannot meet all the demand. Look at the demand. Demand for large panel, 1,800 units. Demand for small panel, 1,700. But there is a bottleneck. Hours available in machine M is a bottleneck. So we cannot meet all this production. We now start with the minimum. Why are we doing minimum for small panel? Because small panel on its own is not even profitable. We shouldn't produce this. But that condition is that we must do at least a minimum of 1,000 small panel to meet the condition set. Let's go to this. Look at the minimum for small panel. We cannot go beyond minimum because that small panel is not profitable. To produce small panel, to produce a unit, we are going to use 0.6 hour of machine M. Now multiply. 1,000 multiplied by 0.6. That gives us what, please? 600 hours. Is that clear? Is that clear, please?
Yes, sir.
Good. Out of 2,700, we have used 600 hours for small panel. How many hours remaining?
2,100.
Thank you. 2,100 hours. This is the hours we are going to use to produce large panels. Is that clear, please? Now, we have 2,100 hours. And to produce a unit of large panel, we are going to use 1.4 hours. How many large panels can we produce? How do we do it? I have 2,100 hours. And to produce one unit, I'm going to use 1.4 hours. How many units of large panel can I produce? Building
1,500.
You see it now? That means your 2,100 divided by 1.4. What do you have, please?
1,500.
That means we can only produce 1,500 units of large panel, even though 1,800 customers are demanding. Can you see it now? Bottleneck limiting our sales. Can we all see it? Is that clear to all?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Great. So our optimal production mix is that the company will produce 1,000 small panel, 1,500 large panel.
But sir, please, how did you apportion the total hours?
We take it again now. It's not me, it's the question that apportion needs, sir. Let's take it again. Is that clear, sir? Now look at the total hours, 2,700. Is that clear, sir? We now start with small panel. The condition is we must do 1,000 of small panel. Is that clear, sir?
Yes,
1,000 small panel. What is the hour to produce one small panel? 0.6 hours. We now say 1,000 multiplied by 0.6. That gives us 600. These 600 hours will be used to produce small panel. The remaining hours will be used to produce large panel that is profitable. Is that clear, sir?
But sir, why are you producing 1,000 units of small panel?
Yes, yes, sir. I look at it, sir. Sentence. It has also been agreed to supply a minimum of 1,000 small panels each year. That was why I explained. I said
If this caveat
ordinary.
wasn't there, we'll have produced more of big panel.
In fact, we are not
Large.
going to produce small panel at all.
Okay. If
Because
this caveat
small
wasn't
panel is not profitable.
okay.
Is that clear, sir?
Yes, sir.
It was this condition that made us to produce minimum for small panel.
Sir.
Is that clear to that questionnaire?
Yeah, it's clear, sir.
All right, the new question.
Okay. What if after producing the 1,000 compulsory units and satisfying the full order for the large panel, and we still have extra time available,
Extra
are
time will
we?
never be available, except you make
Okay.
error. Extra time will never, it's a bottleneck now.
Okay.
Extra time will never be available, except that person has made computational error. Is that clear, sir?
Yes, sir.
So in your comment, if you are commenting now that the optimal production mix, the company will produce although you can leave it like this also, the company will produce 1,000 units of small panel and 1,500 units of large panel. That is the optimal production mix. Then the profit. Examiner says maximum profit. Examiner says also calculate the maximum profit. Let me put this thing down. Why this arrow up? Sorry, Jerry. This one, I don't mind. I'm trying to have everything together. Okay. Now, you have gotten the hours. Please note what to pick. Throughput return per hour. Go and pick it. Throughput return per hour for large panel 5,928.57. For small panel 4,400. Small panel 4,400. Throughput return per hour for large panel 5,928.this. Multiply 600 hours multiplied by 4,400. Get your figure out, please. 2,100 hours multiplied by 5,928.57. Get your throughput return total out. When you are done, I'm sure we have confirmed this. Please confirm. Add the two together. That becomes total throughput contribution. $15,089,992. That is your total throughput contribution. Then less total factory cost. Your total factory cost, all the fixed costs you have gotten. 12 million. Maximum profit, 3,089,992. That is your maximum profit. Any question, please?
Sir, I have a question.
Please go ahead. What's the name?
My name is Samuel.
Samuel, okay.
Yeah. Now, my question is, how do we identify the bottleneck? You know, we are given like different types of machine. we are given machine M, we are given machine C, based on the questions. But if you are given like different machines like that, maybe we are given like 3 to 4 machines, and our destiny, we are using available hours, we are using available hours for machine to get our bottleneck. So how do we get the exact machine for the bottleneck? So that's my question.
All right, thank you for the question. Quite intelligent. In this particular question, examiner specifically tell us the bottleneck. Examiner says machine M has been identified. Where is it safe? Okay, look at it. The following information is available on machine M, which has been identified as the bottleneck resource. This question, examiner has specifically told us that machine M is the bottleneck. Some question, examiner will not tell you. In that case, what do you do? What you need to do is, you are going to check all the resources you have. You are going to check all your resources. You now look at this. What is the demand? Look at this now, for example. Demand here for large machine is how many? 1,800, right? Demand for large panel, 1,800. Demand for small panel, 1,700. If I want to know my bottleneck, I will now say, okay, hour for machine M, 1.4 multiplied by 1,800. Please multiply it. That is hour required to produce, total hour required to produce large panel. 1,800 multiplied by 1.4. What do you have, please?
Two five two zero.
2520. 2520. Please keep in view. Keep that in view. Now, hour to manufacture small panel to meet total demand. 0.6 multiplied by 1,700. Please multiply. Hours to multiply small panel.
1,020.
Now, 1,020 plus 2,520. What do you have? Total hours.
3,540.
That means 3,540, are we?
Yes.
That means to meet the total demand, we require 3,540 hours of machine M. Hours required to meet total demand. Now, compare it to the hours available under machine M. Hours available is 2,700. Can we see it?
It's 4.
Hours available is 2,700. Hours required is 3,540. Is this hour sufficient?
No.
No. That means machine M is a bottleneck. To further explain, when we get to the next question, we are going to use it to explain more. Is that clear, please? Is that clear, please?
Yes, sir.
We are going to use the next question to text it. It's a very good question you ask. So now look at.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah, please.
Why didn't we use the units produced to get the total profits?
So who is asking the question?
Pascal.
Pastor. Oh,
Pascal.
Pascal. Pascal. You can also use the units. But if you are using the units, you don't want to use hours. You now
Yes.
come here. This is throughput return per unit. That means you are going to pick 8,300 for large panel, 2,640 for small panel. You can use your units. This is throughput return per unit.
But if you are timing throughput per hour by throughput by total hours, you won't be getting profit now. It's not a revenue.
Don't say you won't be. That get plaster.
Okay.
Do not say you won't be, because we are going to get it. Is that clear, sir?
I don't understand, but it's not a revenue.
Who say it's not revenue? You can't generate revenue per hour.
But if we use the other one, it won't be
Now,
the same
what I'm
value.
asking first, can't you generate revenue per hour?
We can generate revenue per hour.
So why do you say it's not a revenue? You know why I'm trying to cut you down? It's better to ask questions and obtain understanding than say something is not possible. You want to calculate per unit, right? It's not a problem. Bring in this for small panel, 2,640 multiplied by how many units now? 1,000 units. Please multiply. What do you have? Please,
4,400,000.
what do you have?
4,400,000.
How? You are going to multiply
Okay, sorry.
1,000 multiplied by 2,640. What do you have?
2,640,000.
2,640.
What do you have here? 2,640,000.
2,640,000.
Now come here. For large panel units, 1,500 multiplied by 8,300. What do you have, please?
$12,450,000.
12 million what?
450,000.
This rounding off effect. Whichever one you use is rounding off effect. You know, we rounded off this figure. If you have used this, examiner will mark it for you. If you have used 12,450,000, right? Examiner will still mark it for you. If you want to use units, just come here, say throughput return per unit. Then you are going to multiply by per unit. If you want to use hours, then come and pick the throughput return per hours. Either one we use, you are going to get your return. Return can be calculated per unit. Return can be calculated per hour. Is that better, please? Is that better, please? The class is silent. Pascal, is that clear, please?
Yes, sir, it's clear. Thank you, sir.
So please, know why at times if I try to bring students will now go and change question for examiner. Please, don't say we can't calculate like that now. In fact, I can charge my revenue per hour. What am I doing? Am I not rendering service? If I'm charging you, I'm going to charge you per hour I talk. I'm going to talk for 2.5 hours tonight. That is what I'm going to charge. They're going to pay me per hour. I can calculate my revenue per hour now. So please, Don't ever say this is not. But it's good if you ask that, let us explain it out. All right. Thank you. Now look at the C part. Suggest and discuss 3 ways in which Solar and Co. could try to increase its production capacity and hence increase throughput without making any additional investment in machinery. How can we increase our production capacity? What the examiner is asking is, how can we reduce the bottleneck and make more profit? How can we do that? Look at the explanation. Generally speaking, throughputs can, when we say throughputs, it also means contribution, return. Throughputs can be increased by increasing sales volume or sales prices on one hand, or by cutting costs on the other hand. In the case of Solar and Co., it is not possible to increase sales as the company has guaranteed not to increase prices for the next 3 years. It's in the question. The company says we are not going to increase selling price for the next 3 years. From the above calculations in B above, we can see that Solar and Co. had unsatisfied demand for both small panel and large panel. Where is this coming from? For small panel, the demand is 1,700. The company can only do 1,000. For large panel, demand is 1,800. The company can only do 1,005. That means the company is losing revenue. You cannot satisfy all your demand. There are customers out there who the company is unable to supply because of its restricted machine capacity. Therefore, it's worthwhile for the company to focus on increasing volumes, that is, increasing production volumes. And in order to increase production volume, without making additional capital expenditure. The question says, how do we increase production volume without buying more machines? In order to increase production volume without making any additional capital expenditure, the company needs to focus on how to improve the productivity of machine M. Machine M is the limiting, is the bottleneck. That is where we have problem. As we are informed that there is plenty of spare capacity in machine C and machine A, it's in the question. Examiner says, look at it. Machine M has been identified as the bottleneck. There is currently plenty of spare capacity in machine C and machine A. So our focus should be how to increase capacity of machine M. Some suggestion to increase machine M capacity as follows. Look at the suggestion. All these suggestions are in the question. Machine M is currently only fully functional. Only fully functional. That should be functional. Currently function 90% of the time. Remember, out of 3,000 hours, machine M is only available 90%. That gave us 2,700 hours. This means that 300 hours are lost while the machine is being maintained or workers not available to manage. The company will lose 300 hours due to maintenance or workers absenteeism. If the maintenance could be carried out outside the usual working day, the working hour is between 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. If we can do maintenance before 7 a.m. or after 8 p.m., that means maintenance will not disturb production again. Some additional time will be free up. This should be possible since we are told that maintenance contract works. Maintenance contracts works around the clock. Instead of coming to do the maintenance when we are doing production, they can come before 7 now. They can come like 5 a.m. Or they can come after 8 p.m. The examiner says they work 24 hours a day. Is that clear, please? Look at second suggestion. If you look at it, currently, workers are only trained on one machine. That's a risk. Workers could be trained to use more than one of the machines. This will mean that if some workers were absent, one of the other workers could step in and work on other machines in order to keep it running. If that is possible, again, we are going to keep, that will reduce the hours lost. What happened?
Nothing.
Look at the last suggestion. Will you agree with this? The most obvious machine time which is being lost is the 1 hour per day for lunch. Why should you give worker 1 hour to go and eat? It's not too much. Hey, Pascal. Is it not too much? That sounds like 1 hour. Okay, look at it. The most obvious machine time which is being lost is the 1 hour per day for lunch time. This amounts to 250 lost production hour per year. Every day, how do we get 250? Every day we lose 1 hour for lunch. Multiply by 5 days in a week. That's 5 hours. Multiply by 50 weeks in a year. That's 250 hours for lunch. The additional 250 hours could be used to produce extra 178 large panel. How do we get 178? Of course, large panel will produce more. The 250 hours divided by hours to produce hours per unit for large panel. We should have produced extra 178 large panels. Note, large panels should be produced first in preference to small panels, since they will generate higher throughput per machine hour. Definitely, we cannot tell an employee not to go for lunch. But look at it. If workers were trained to use all the 3 machines, then their lunch time is staggered. We can stagger the lunch time. Maybe 2 will go for lunch now. Others will man the machine. The next 2 will go for lunch. Others man the machine. If workers were trained to use all the 3 machines, and if their lunch time is staggered, it may be possible to keep machine M running for the whole working day. These are the suggestions that we can do without incurring additional expenditure. That ends that question. Any question from what we have discussed? Any question, please? Any question, please?
No question, sir.
All right. We can take one more question. Please don't forget the concept of throughput accounting. If it's always straightforward. Only the material cost is regarded as the variable cost. All other costs are regarded as fixed in nature. Let us look at illustration 2. Tin & Co is a private hospital offering 3 types of surgical procedure known as ABC. Each of them uses operative injection given by a nurse before the surgery. Tin & Co currently rents an operating theater from a neighboring government hospital. Tin & Co does have an operating theater on its premises, but it has never put it into use. since it will cost 750,000 to equip. Full stop. And Co. is keen to maximize profits and has heard of something called throughput accounting, which may help him to do so. The following information is available. 1. All patients go through five-step process, irrespective of which procedure they are having. The steps are consultation with the advisor, preoperative injection given by the nurse, anesthetic given by the anesthetics, procedure performed in the theater by the surgeon, recovery with the recovery specialist. Information 2. The price of each procedure, ABC, is 2,700, 3,500, 4,250 respectively. 3. The only material costs relating to the procedures are the pre-operative injection given by the nurse, the anesthetics, and the dressing. Look at the material cost. There are 5 members of staff employed by Team and Co. Each work a standard 40 hours week. In a week, each employee will work for 40 hours and 47 weeks for the year. In total hours is 1,880. How they got the hour? 40 multiplied by 47. Their salaries are as given below. The only other hospital cost comparable to factory costs in a traditional manufacturing environment are general overhead, which includes theater rental costs, an amount to 250,000. Maximum demand for procedure ABC 600, 800, and 1,200 respectively. Time spent by each of the 5 different staff members on each procedure is as follows. Part hours is given. Please work with the hour. Surgeon hours has been correctly identified as the bottleneck resource. Now look at this question. Examiner has said surgeon hour. Now let's assume we are not giving this. We want to identify the bottleneck resource ourselves. We are going to assume that we are not giving this now. Let us identify the bottleneck resource ourselves. Examiner says calculate the throughput accounting ratio for procedure C. It is recommended that you work in hours as provided in the table rather than minutes. Plus, ignore the minutes. We are going to work with hours. Now, assuming we are not giving, this statement is not given. The first thing you are going to do is to identify the bottleneck resource. The question that was asked, how do we identify bottleneck resource? I want to use this question to explain how to identify bottleneck resource. Assuming we are not told that surgeon hours has been correctly identified as the bottleneck resource. So I will now come here. I will bring this here now. I'm going to create additional table to my right. This becomes hours required. Now, how many are we doing for procedure A? Let me check it. Let's check it together. Procedure A, 600. Procedure B, 800. Procedure C, 12. Please come here. Under advisor, procedure A, how many? Multiply by 600. Please multiply. 0.24 multiplied by 600. What do you have, please? Is equal to procedure B. We are going to do 800. Please multiply. Oh, I should come here, Jare. Multiply by 600. That represents total demand for A. Total demand for B. Multiply by 800. Total demand for C. Multiply by 1,200. You can have the figure.
144.
The first one, Abi.
Yes, sir.
This is 144 hours. Next, 144 hours. Next,
192.
192. 192, Abi.
Yes, sir.
192 hours. Next,
288.
288, Abi.
Yes, sir.
I want to maintain. So Abi. I want to have it on a spray. I don't like. Don't know who make this one. Then what do you have here? 288, Abi. 288. Please sum the hours. 144. 192. 288. Total hour requires.
This 24.
This
24.
20. Thank you. You move to nurse. Multiply by 600. multiply by 800, multiply by 1,200. Get your hours. What do you have here?
162.
162 hours. Next.
224.
You have 224 hours. Next.
360.
360. Now sum up 162, 244, 360. Hours of nurse required.
766. 746.
7 what?
746.
746 hours. Move to the next staff. Anatext, multiply by 600, multiply by 800, multiply by 1, 2. Get what do you have here?
150.
150.
150 hours.
224.
Next.
224.
Okay, yeah, that's correct. This is equal to 2. Is it 224 or 244?
224.
224.
Oh, 224. That means this is wrong. What do you have here?
396.
396. Now sum up 150 plus 224 plus 396.
770.
770.
770 hours. Next. Multiply by demand for procedure A, 600. Demand for procedure B, 800. This will equal to 800 hours. Demand for procedure C, 1,200. Please supply. What do you have here?
450.
It got to 450 hours.
800.
Next.
800.
They have gotten that one. What do you have here?
15.
1,500. Sum up.
2,750.
450. What do you have?
2750.
450 plus 800 plus 15. What do you have?
2,750.
750 hours. Then move to the last employee. Multiply by 600. Multiply by 800. total demand multiplied by 1 total demand. Hours, what do you have here?
360.
360.
Yes, sir.
36, Abi?
360. Yes, sir.
360. Next.
560.
560. Next.
888.
888. 888. Sum up your hours. 360 plus 560 plus 888. What do you have?
1808.
1808. This is the hour required for each employee. Examiner says, I will create one more column. Hours available for the employees. Let's look at it to my right. Don't worry. It's a good question that person asks because examiner made life easy here. You now come to hours available. Need to compare. Okay, sorry, I missed this. Let me look at this. I can't see the screen. Why? That's not possible. Now look at it. The examiner says, I want to bring out the hours available to us. Yeah, look at it. There are five members of staff employed by Tinanco. Each work standard 40 hours week for 47 weeks a year. A total of 1,080 hours for each. That means each person have 1,880 hours. Hours available here. 1,880 hours available here. 1,880 hours available here. 1,880 hours available here. 1,880 hours available here for this employee. 1,880. Now let's compare. Advisor, hours required for the job to meet all the demand, 624 hours. Hours available for the advisor, 1,880. Is there a constraint here?
No, sir.
No. NOx, hours required to meet all the patients. Procedure A, procedure B, procedure C. Hours required, 746 hours. Hours available, 1,880. Any bottleneck here?
No, sir.
No. Look at the next one. Any bottleneck? 770 against 1,880. Any bottleneck?
No, sir.
No.
Look at the surgeon hour. Hours required, 2,750. But the surgeon hour available, how many?
1.
That is the bottleneck.
Yeah.
That is the limitation. So examiner can remove the sentence. We have done this because to explain. But in the question, the examiner says surgeon hours has been correctly identified as the bottleneck. Ordinarily, I will not do it. But to show you, in case examiner can test the same question, if you now remove this sentence, that means you must do this first to identify the bottleneck resource. Is that clear, please? All right. So I can take this, I will take it away from here. I will take it to the last aspect, how to identify bottleneck. Let me place it somewhere here so that, okay, it should be here before, okay. I'll place it. You can refer to it on how to do identify bottleneck. Now let's go back now. Requirement A, calculate throughput accounting ratio for procedure C. State your formula. Look at solution. Throughput accounting ratio is equal to throughput return per factory hour divided by cost per factory hour. Your cost per factory hour is equal to total factory cost by total hours available in bottleneck. Next, my total factory cost, all costs incurred, excluding material cost. I will now pick it, all the costs, labor cost, pick all your labor cost, advisor, 45, nurse, 38, anesthetic, 75, surgeon, 90, recovery specialist, 50. That is my labor cost. Rental cost and other overhead, 250. My total factory cost, advisor, nurse, anesthetic, surgeon, recovery specialist, renter, theater rental cost. Total factory cost is, please add up, 548,000. Please add up total factory cost. Total surgeon hour available in bottleneck, we have explained it, 1,008. Surgeon hour has been identified as the bottleneck. Cost per factory hour, total factory cost divided by total hour available in bottleneck resource. This is equal to total factory cost, 548,000 divided by 1,880 hours. Please compute. That will give you 291.498. That is the cost per factory hour. Any question to this, please? Any question to this, please? Great. You know, once you state your formula, we have calculated the denominator. I'll move to the what? To my numerator. Return per factory hour. Open your schedule. We have 3 products: procedure A, procedure B, procedure C. Selling price per unit is given in the question. The selling price per unit is given. Look at note 2. The price of each procedure: 2,700, 3,500, 4,250. Then take your material cost at the same time. Examiner said the only material cost, look at the material cost, are pre-operative injection, the anesthetics and dressing. Pick your material cost. Sales price less material cost. We have 3 materials. Add your material cost. For procedure A, add up. Please add up. I'm trying to manage the time. Add your material cost for procedure B. Add material cost for procedure C. Total material cost. Your throughput return per unit is sales less material cost. Look at your sales price less material cost. Look at the material cost. Please compute and reconfirm. Please compute and reconfirm.
It's correct.
Material cost, you have it, you have it, you have it. So return, I mean. Sales price less material cost, material cost, material cost. You have your return, 1,959.4, 2,654.4, 3,199.4. Then hours in bottleneck. What is the hour? Bottleneck is surgeon. What is the surgeon hour per unit? Let's go and look at it for each product. To produce procedure A, surgeon hour is 0.75. Procedure B per unit, surgeon hour 1 hour. Procedure C, surgeon hour 1.25. Come here. Hours in bottleneck per unit. Then return, throughput return per hour. Your throughput return per unit divided by the hours. Please, let's divide. Let's divide. Procedure A will give you 1,959.4 divided by 0.75. You have 2,612.53. Do same for procedure B. Return divided by the hours in bottleneck. You have your figure. Return divided by hours in bottleneck. You have your figure. We have gotten return per hour. Throughput return per factory hour. Then I've gotten my cost per factory hour. I can get my throughput accounting ratio. Return per factory hour divided by cost per factory hour. Please check that out. Return per factory hour divided by cost per factory hour. Return per factory hour divided by cost per factory hour. You have your throughput accounting ratio. Although the examiner says calculate for procedure C, we have done for the 3 procedures. We have answer A. Any question, please? Any question, please? Pascal. Okay, Hosanna. Okay, Olajire is online tonight. Any question to this, please? Okay, great.
No,
Now
sir.
let's look at the B. Yes, your question. Please go ahead.
No question, sir.
Okay, no question. Okay. Now look at B. The return per factory hour for products A and B has been calculated and is given to you. You have done your own before, respectively. The throughput accounting ratio for A and B have also been calculated, and the answer is, please confirm your answer you have gotten. Return per factory hour calculated for A and B. Throughput accounting ratio for A and B computed. This shows that your computation is right. Examiner now says, calculate the optimal production mix and the maximum profits. In this case, which one is giving us highest profits? Look at it. We do ranking now. Abi? Can do ranking. Rank. Ranking. Procedure B is you have highest throughput accounting ratio. So this will be first. Procedure B, we go to where? A is better than C now, right? That becomes second. Then we go to third. It means that to maximize profits, we are going to start with that one that gives us the highest throughput accounting ratio. We are starting with procedure B. Is that clear, please? Optimum production mix. I'm going to do the whole procedure B, 800 first. Hours. Remember, sojourn hour is the limiting, is the bottleneck. So is that bottleneck you are going, that bottleneck resource, that is the hour you are going to pick. To produce 1 unit of procedure B, we require 1 hour of sojourn. 800 multiplied by 1, total hours used for procedure B becomes 800 hours. That means out of 1,880, we have used 800 for procedure B. Be mindful of that. We move to the next one. After you are done with procedure B, we go to procedure A. Procedure A, we have 600 demand. We are going to meet A fully. And hour required to produce 1 unit of procedure A is 0.75. Multiply 600 by 0.75. That becomes 450. Now, please add 800 plus 450. What do you have, please? Please add 800 plus 450. What do you have?
1,250.
1,250.
1,250. Out of 1,880. We have used 1,250. We are left with what, please?
630.
That is the only hour remaining for procedure C. If you sum up, this will give you, total year will give you, if you sum up this now,
Sir, please. I thought for product B is supposed to be 700, not 600.
product B,
Where
can
did
we check it? Product B, can we check it again? Is it 700?
Product A
or
should be
800?
700. Product A.
I will read this in question, please. Product A is how many?
700.
Please
Except
look
I'm
here,
making
ma. Maximum demand A, B, C, 600, 800, 1,000 respectively.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, ma. It's even here. A is 600. B demand is 800. C is 1, 2. Now, the hours remaining for product C is 630 hours. And to produce product C, we require 1.25 hours. How many can we produce, please? How many procedure C can we produce? That becomes 630 divided by 1.25. How many do we have, please?
504.
504. That means out of 1,200 for procedure C, we can only do 504. Other customer, we cannot meet that demand. Is that clear, please? Other customer, we can't meet that demand. You can now look at return per hour, or you can do return per unit. Just make sure you pick the appropriate thing. If you want to do return per hour, that means I'm going to come here. Throughput return per hour, I will pick these figures here. If I want to do return per unit, I will pick these figures here. Please note the appropriate thing to multiply with. I have taken return per hours. I'm going to take total hours. 800 hours multiplied by this. What do you have, please? Please multiply. $450 hours multiplied by return per hour. Have your figure. 630 hours multiplied by return per hours. Have your figure. Then sum up the total. When you sum up the total, you have total contribution. When you get the total contribution, now less factory cost. That will give you maximum profit. Factory cost, as computed earlier, is 548,000. Maximum profit, 4,349,900. 001.6. We are done with the B part. This is similar to what we solved the previous question. To round up in 2 minutes, look at the C part. To round up in 2 minutes. Now look at it. Assume that your calculation in A, in B, in part B, shows that if the optimum production mix is adhered to, there will be excess demand for procedure C of 696. How do we get this? Out of 1,200, we only met 504. Please deduct. Procedure C, the demand is 1,200 minus 504. What do you have, please? What do you have, please?
696.
In order to satisfy this excess demand, the company is considering equipping and using its own theater, as well as continue to rent the existing theater. The company cannot rent any more theater time at either the existing theater or any other theater in that area. So equipping its own theater is the only option. An additional surgeon will be employed to work in the newly equipped theater. Discuss whether the overall profit of the company will be improved by equipping and using the extra theater. To answer this, we are going to ask ourselves, what is the extra revenue generated if we attend to 696 procedures? What is the extra cost incurred if we are to equip our new theater? We go to it quickly. Additional contribution. Look at it. Number of units, 696. That is procedure C. What is contribution per unit? Look at it. Throughput return. We also call it throughput contribution per unit. Procedure C, 3,199.4 multiplied by 696. Multiplied by 696. This will give us additional contribution generated. 2,226,798.4. Cost of equipping the theater. Let's go to it. Examiner says to equip the theater. Look at it, please. It will cost 750,000 to equip their own theater. 750,000. Then we are going to require additional surgeon. Look at it. An additional surgeon will be employed to work on the newly equipped theater. Cost to be incurred. 1. Cost of equipping own theater, 750,000. Cost of new surgeon, 90,000. Please add the two costs. That will give you 840,000. Now less additional contribution, less additional cost. Incremental profit, 1,386,798. 784.2, 782.4. So what will be your comment? Is it profitable? Yes. The profit of the company will increase by 1,386,782.4 if the new theater is equipped and we attend to the what? Extra demand of 96 procedures under C. Here comes the end of the question. Please review question number 3 as an assignment, although the solution is there. Look at that question. That was the question tested November last day. I want you to review it. You can close your eyes to the solution. Take the question and solve. Now compare your answer with the solution. All right. It's a good way to end the class. Any question, please? Okay, Gabriel, any question?
Sir, please share
Elise,
these updated. Please share these updated notes.
Okay, Emeka will share. All right. Let's have a blessed evening. God will give us a better understanding. All right, good night. We meet next week to look at activity-based costing. Please, let's keep up with the class and let's ensure we are reviewing what we have done. I repeat it, you can write your PM and pass with the online class only. All right, good night.
Thank you, sir.